Hello, hello, Christina Giordano here, the founder of S.O.U.L, your go-to resource for soulful entrepreneurship. And my philosophy is this: people can no longer be sold to, that they must be sold to. That is S-O.U.L apostrophe D. This is selling with soul, but in order to sell with soul, you need to be sold, S-O.U.L apostrophe D, on you first. This is marketing with integrity, where you no longer need to compromise your authenticity, your boundaries, your uniqueness, your wholeness. This is messaging in a way that actually reflects the transformation you provide because it's your story, your transformation, and nobody can compete with that. This is manifesting in a way that honors your fullness, all of the pieces and parts of you that are meant to be divinely resourced. Join me every Wednesday to learn all of this and more. Let's jump right in. So first things first, for all of my YouTube subscribers and viewers, I have shorts now. So these shorts are just little blips of content from my episodes that are uploaded weekly. They are like 30 to, I think, max 90-second videos that give you a glimpse of my approach, of my philosophy as it relates to sold, S-O-U-L apostrophe D, and essentially marketing and manifesting with nothing but the essence that is you. The second little side note is that if you want the full episode, it is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find those links either on my website, ChristinaGiordano.com, or I believe they are also in the description for this video. Either way, you can search for Sold, S-O-U-L apostrophe D, by Christina Giordano, and you'll find the latest episode up on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those are the full episodes, and these videos are just glimpses of those episodes. They're a little longer, sometimes they're up to 15 minutes even, but I try to keep them short so that you can get the full experience in the podcast itself. Now, today's episode is actually part 2 of a series. Part 1 was last week. It's the series called What's Love Got to Do with It? And part 2 is called This is the Kind of Earning Capacity that the universe wants to see. Within this episode, I talk about the old paradigm of earning versus the new paradigm of earning. And I give 3 spiritual truths that I personally live by that will hopefully help this land. So back to the earning capacity piece, you might be thinking to yourself, Christina, all of your videos are basically telling us that we don't have to earn anything, that our worth is already earned simply by existing. I'm here to tell you, yes, that is absolutely true. But are you actually living in that knowing? Is it something that you actually believe in? Do you believe it's really possible for your worth to already be earned? So, 2 questions to think about. Are you living in the paradigm of conditional love, where your earning capacity is based on your egoic and efforting kind of motivations and movements? So this is essentially where you're thinking and living and being in a place of what you should do, what would get you approval, what would be accepted, what is expected of you. Or are you living in the paradigm of unconditional love, where your earning capacity is based on nothing but you living from your essence? Meaning, are you living in alignment with your truth? Now, true manifestation, without all of the manifestation matrices that are available to us right now, disregarding all of that, true manifestation is effortless. Think about a flower. A flower isn't regularly affirming to itself that it's blooming, that it's receiving everything that it needs in order to bloom. That's not what it's doing. It's just living in its nature. Are you doing that? And the question then becomes, are you moving based on what your ego believes that it should be doing in order to manifest? Or are you living by your essence, in which it just already knows? It already knows, and therefore it moves based on divine inspiration, or based on instinct, based on the body, based on what's rooted within, based on your essence. Your essence isn't seeking approval through fear. So the ego is really rooted in the mind. It's a mental thing. It's phenomenal and absolutely brilliant in keeping you safe and keeping you alive. But your essence is when you're bringing it back down to your heart. So when it comes to marketing and manifesting, are you marketing based on the truth of your heart as it relates to the strength of your work? When it comes to manifesting, are you actually living out that expression? Are you actually truly living from a place and embodying that truth that is within you? These are essentially what the souled approach takes out of you. And I've personally created 2 series of methods, the marketing methods and the manifesting methods, that are each in and of themselves roadmaps for your own self-discovery. So they require radical honesty. But what they're doing is they're helping you return to yourself, returning to the truth that is within you. For both marketing and manifesting, because as I said earlier, true manifestation is effortless. It doesn't require effort. It doesn't require struggle. It doesn't require sacrifice. Now, a little background for me. For the entirety of my life, productivity, effort, and forcing outcomes were essentially the normal. That's just how I lived. And if I'm going to be honest, that's how most people lived and still live. And I believed that I would need to earn my keep based on the effort that was applied. I received validation for that knowing, for that ultimate truth over and over again. And so I would achieve based on the effort that I applied. And who I was as a person mattered, but only because of how I would be perceived as a result of that effort by those around me. So what I had mattered more because it essentially would validate my earning capacity, which was obviously rooted in my ego. And not only did I have to learn through my way through life and earn everything that I would consider mine, I had to follow that curve of potentiality, meaning getting a job out of college meant that the more work that I accomplished, the more I would get recognized by external factors, and my earning potential would therefore increase as a result. So this is the typical curve of potentiality that most people experience and go through and lean into because it's what we know. It's the old paradigm of earning. And so really the only thing that mattered to me at that point in my life was the capacity to earn and demonstrating that capacity to earn. And this worked very well for me up until a specific point where I started to hate everything that I was doing. It was actually in November of 2012 when I was like, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. I couldn't stay around in my job anymore. The workplace was incredibly toxic. I was doing work that felt draining and that wasn't fulfilling. I did not feel alive or aligned in any way whatsoever. I was simply existing. So when you're just existing in something, that's a good indicator that you're stuck, stagnant, and the energy is just flat. There's no movement. There's no life force. There's nothing happening. And it got to a point where I couldn't stay another day. And so, despite so much pushback from family and friends who wanted me to stay in that dysfunction, not because they wanted me to suffer, but because they were also afraid of the unknown, I left. I left despite the projection of others. And as I'm saying this, and I mentioned this in the podcast episode as well, my divorce happened along similar lines. I was dwelling in a space of so much dysfunction that it finally got to a point, despite the projections of others telling me to stick it out and stay, that I had to just leave, that I had to tackle my fear of the unknown and just leave. So these are essentially 2 major examples in my life where I chose alignment over misalignment. They're life-changing examples of where I chose me and my peace. And of course, this is never easy. Making these decisions from your essence when they're like rooted in truth is never easy, because one of the things that I would always wrestle with is truth enough to radically change my life? Is following truth enough? Is it enough Is alignment enough? Is authenticity enough? And I'm going to say, and I say this on the episode too, it absolutely is, because staying in these toxic environments would have been my excuse to not grow, to stay small, to diminish myself, to let others walk all over me, to let myself go, to not speak my truth, to stay tethered to what was toxic, and to hold on to things that were clearly broken. But again, the ego comes in and it says, but who are you without all of these things? Who are you without your job? Who are you without money? Who are you without your husband? Who are you without a family foundation? Who are you when nothing on the outside looks good? And I was so obsessed for so long with how my life looked that it was really hard for me to let that belief dissolve, to let that identity kind of crumble. And so, what I realized, even saying this right now, is that is what self love looks like. Choosing yourself over and over and over again, despite the fears, despite the projections, despite what the outside world is telling you, following the inner world and choosing that is self love. That is the definition of self love. And the only way I was able to make it out of all of that is consistently reminding myself that that's what this was. That me choosing myself was loving myself. And instead of building an earning capacity that was built on fear, I was building an earning capacity that was built on love. And so I'm going to move on to, again, you can listen to the full episode if you want to hear more details on all of that. But I'm going to move on to the 3 spiritual truths that I live by, because I feel like they will help this notion of essence over ego land a little better, because they are truly what I live through, what I've moved through as I live my daily life, when I'm just focused on maintaining my frequency by living within the essence that is me, my most natural frequency. This isn't actually something that you have to try to do, because if you think about it, your essence is your most natural state. Without everything and everyone around me, this is who I would naturally be. And so when you're in that state and you know that, and you're making the active decision to not let everything and everyone around you disrupt that, disrupt your posture, disrupt your presence, that's when you're no longer leaking energy. That's when you're no longer giving your power away. You're holding it. You're holding that frequency. That is just you. It's not a positive frequency. It's not a high vibe thing. It's just you as your most authentic self. And honestly, you as your most authentic self doesn't really care about everything else. Like, this isn't about bypassing anything. I didn't get here from bypassing anything and faking positivity. That's absolutely not what got me here. I had to deeply feel everything along the way. And as I deeply felt everything, I became deeper in my own knowing, in my own truth. And that allows for things that do disrupt my presence. It allows me to hold them, to feel them, and then to release it much more easily, much more seamlessly, much more quickly, so that I can return to my own frequency. Now, the 3 spiritual truths that I live by. Number 1, my essence is all about frequency. And so I embody my most natural frequency, which is heaven on earth. So this is kind of what I was just describing. But this doesn't require effort. It doesn't require effort to maintain your most natural state of being. It simply requires consciousness, and I want to call it sensory awareness. So as you're living as your most authentic self, which is also your most expansive self, you are attuned to your body in a way that you know what you're doing that is expansive, and you know when how you're moving is contracted. Like, you know the difference between the versions of you and how your body moves in accordance to those versions of you. This requires familiarity. It requires getting to know yourself on a deeper level, which is why the work of the S.O.U.L approach is required. This is essentially what the entire manifesting methods is about that shed, the great shed of everything that isn't you. But the point is that I don't match energy outside of me. I have and hold the standard of energy that I want to experience, the frequency that is me, that is my highest frequency, that is not only what I truly deserve and what I'm worth, but it's my value, my inherent value. It's not faked. You can't fake a frequency. And this means that if my essence is truly a grounded and yet ethereal and peaceful presence, that is the frequency that I choose to embody. And moving in this way through life, in my opinion, is true self mastery. Now, again, this doesn't mean that nothing outside of me bothers me, it disrupts me. It absolutely does. I have 2 young children, I have an ex, I have a business, I have loads of responsibilities and people in my life who don't necessarily dwell in my frequency, but they are still separate from me. There's no attachment there. It's not that I don't care, it's just that I'm choosing to live in this way of being that feels right to me, and they could just be in whatever feels right to them. And if their energy, which I'm going to get to in a second, if it's not right for me, if they'll fall away, and if it is, they'll rise up to meet me. Number 2, anything that doesn't reflect the true me falls away from me. This is essentially saying that anything that is out of alignment with me and that does not seem to be an accurate reflection of my essence is allowed to fall away. I let it dissolve. It does not need my influence. It does not need my input. It does not need any of my energy, including my focus. I could look at it, I could see it, I can be completely aware of it. I'm not avoiding it. I'm simply not engaging with something that isn't mine to hold. And that is okay. That is okay to do. Trust me, as somebody who felt like they had to put their hands into everything and touch everything just to get it right, just to fix it, just to solve it, just to, again, an ego thing, to make it look okay, it's okay to just let it go. It's okay to just release it and just let it be its own energy. And number 3, anything that does reflect the true me rises to meet me. So whatever is meant for me will find its way to me. I trust that whatever aligns with me, whatever is truly aligned with me, will make its way into my reality. And again, this can be anything: a person, a place, a situation, a money problem. It could be a resource. It could be a connection, a thing. Anything that is aligned with my frequency will make its way for it to me. But because I am at my highest frequency, the expectation is that it will match me. It will match my standard. It will match where I am. It will meet me where I am. And so this is something that you kind of start to see changing as you start to live this way, as you start to live with the souled approach. You start to see things change within your reality. And so it starts as subtle shifts within your reality, and as reality starts to change before your eyes, you start to notice more and more things. This is where you want to keep noticing the shifts. Keep noticing all of the energy that is meeting you where you are, because the more you can notice it, the more you will establish a belief in it. And the key thing here is belief, because belief creates value. You have to have an ultimate truth within you that you will always be met at your energy, and anything that does not meet you there is not for you. It is not yours to hold. It is not yours to influence. It is not yours to touch. You can see it. You can say, oh, it's there. It has no impact on you. Let it unfold as it will, and then meet you where you are. In conclusion, letting your essence lead the way is truly just about having and holding the frequency that is you. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. If you want the full episode, which again is available on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can absolutely check it out. Until next time, be well and take care.